the effects would be terrible. But the worst effect, and the reason that the head of Mossad, the just retired head of Mossad, the Israeli CIA, the reason he said what he said was because he also said that this war would result in the destruction of Israel. Wow. Yeah, he said that. I know that because I said that at an interview, and then I said to myself, McGovern, did you really say that? And I looked up, and sure enough, a day or two later, I realized that Dagan, the former Mossad director, had said that. It's beyond the point where Israel can do this kind of thing.
He also called it a catastrophe. He said it would be a regional catastrophe.
Yeah, and he also said it would be the stupidest thing in the world, which he's absolutely right about. Now, the neocons, the people running our policy, even with Obama, they're hanging around, they have great difficulty distinguishing between the strategic interests of Israel on the one hand and the strategic interests of the United States on the other. But in this case, they should be coincident. They should be identical. I want to preserve the state of Israel. I don't like its behavior, but I don't want it destroyed. That's what would end up here. And that's perhaps why Dagan felt forced to speak out, because nobody else was saying that in the Israeli body.
Well, it's going to unify that entire region against Israel, and Israel's already lost its worldview as the little guy being picked on, and it would definitely be billed as the villain, and world sympathy would completely evaporate. And I saw a Washington Times interview with folks that are in contact with Netanyahu, and they say that he believes it'll be such a big war that the West will be forced to defeat Iran, and then out of that, he'll be seen as Churchill or something. And yeah. I just don't think that he's right about that.
It's a big roll of the dice, Alex. It's a very big roll of the dice, and we should do everything we can to prevent that dice from being rolled, because...
How do Russia and China tie into that?
That's a very good question. Now, Russia is becoming much more vocal in saying, look, Iran's right on our southern frontier, pretty much, and we don't like this kind of thing, even the possibility that nuclear weapons might be employed. Besides, you should leave Iran alone. Now, Russia has a big stake in Iran. There's an economic stake there, and China has an even bigger stake. So I fully expect that the Russians and the Chinese are very, very strong in their protestations about all this stuff. And I think that may be as much as this freelance terrorism that is being conducted by Israel within Iran without so much as a by your leave to us. I think both of those factors may have been enough to persuade the president that you got to say, pretty please don't do it anymore. And again, I come back to the bottom line: is Netanyahu gonna settle for pretty please, or does he think that he has the high cards? He has Congress, he has our press here in this country. Those are pretty high cards. I think he's tempted to do it anyway.
So it may happen anyway, and we'll continue to watch that. In closing, I want to ask you about NDAA, but what about Ron Paul? I mean, I hear it all over neocon radio. I see it all over the news. He's crazy. He doesn't want to attack Iran. And I guess the system's counting on the public's ignorance, because most of the Joint Chiefs, the last two chairmen, top Israelis, the former Mossad head, I mean, most, I'd say 9 out of 10 analysts that I've talked to out there say it's crazy to do this, don't do it. So, I mean, Ron Paul is really in the sane camp when it comes to foreign policy, but because people that want war are in such control of the media, they're able to create that illusion with some of the general public that it's crazy to not want a new war.
That's exactly right. Ron Paul has it exactly right, and I admire him greatly for speaking out the way he has been, despite the derision on the part of the press. The press is no longer a free press in this country, and having been in Washington 50 years, I've seen a lot of change, but the biggest change is that we no longer have, in any real sense, a free press. It's dominated by people who do the bidding of the corporations. There's lots of money to be made, but from war in the Middle East, and there's lots of money to be made by being a strong supporter of Israel, whatever the consequences. So when Ron Paul gets up and tells it like it is, that this is crazy. Why do you want another war? What is this war lust? He's exactly right. It makes no sense, and I hope he begins to make a dent on the public opinion of this country. All right.
We've only got about a minute and a half left here, so I've got an appointment. NDAA, all these preparations for civil unrest, secret arrest of citizens. I think this is really starting to wake people up. What's your view on NDAA and why Obama said he wouldn't sign it, but then signed it?
I think it's the corporate interests and the leadership of our Congress and the White House. You know what, Alex? They're afraid. They're afraid of us. They're afraid of Occupy Washington and Occupy these other cities. They don't know what to do. And what they're really afraid is that if they call the Capitol Police or the Secret Service or the District Police, they might realize they're part of the 99%. And so what do? Well, they want to be able to call on the Army. The Army can be expected to follow orders, and it's sort of like an insurance policy. And you and I are now liable for things that, since the Constitution was written, we never would have been liable before. And it's just an incredibly atrocious situation. I'm glad that Chris Hedges is suing the president over this, because he is a traitor. He is a traitor in just prescinding from his oath of office, where he swore, as I did as an Army officer, to support and protect the Constitution of the United States from all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Wow, you served 5 presidents, or was it 4? And I've never heard you call a president a traitor, and undoubtedly is. And by the way, I'd like to get Chris Hedges on. I believe you know him. If you've got any contact info, we've been trying to email, but we don't have the right one. I want to get Chris Hedges on. We have an article about it today. Journalist sues Obama over an indefinite detention law. Ray McGovern, thank you so much for spending time with us, and we're glad you're out there, a voice for sanity.
You're most welcome, Alex.
Thank you so much, sir. All right, there he goes. Look, you heard him. I mean, I'm not an enemy of Israel. I don't want to see bad things happen to any country. But when the majority of Israelis in polls don't want this war, and most of the military brass says don't do it, I mean, that's when you know it's bad. I mean, it is bad news. And as the world goes into this economic implosion, you're going to see more and more pressure for wars, because these mega corporations make money off of it while all of our nations basically lose. And they get to take more of our rights and freedoms. They get to stage terror attacks and then say Iran did it, or Iran might actually respond. You know, that's what's so creepy about Santorum, saying kill Iranians, bomb them, blow them up, assassinate people. What is Santorum going to do if the Iranians do come over here and start killing people? Oh, how dare them blow something up or kill military people or kill scientists. That's terrorism. Well, it's terrorism when that's being done to Iran. I mean, you can't say the bad guys torture, but then we torture, we're the good guys. Or you can't say in foreign countries they secretly arrest people. Well, here we put it on paper. Again, reality doesn't line up to what the special interests are saying and doing. Now, I got a bunch of other news. We've got an amazing interview coming up in the next hour with a woman who had the state police come after her for not vaccinating her 2.5-year-old daughter. She's a very well-spoken, nice lady, professional lady. And she's going to be joining us. We got a bunch of clips here. We're going to expose the hoax that it's the law. You got to take all these vaccines. But I want to go to Alice, Tim, Gus, Jay, Michael, and others. Alice in Texas, thanks for holding. You're on the air.
Hi, Alex. I'm a big fan. I've been a subscriber for 7 years at least. And I've been sitting here every day lately looking at the Prisonplanet TV screen, looking at that link to your slow kill Holocaust story. And I wanted to make a point that I don't think has emerged in recent days, as you've been talking about the importance of Americans supplementing their diet with proper nutrients because the food no longer has it in it. And you can't possibly be healthy and of normal weight unless you do.
Oh, listen, I was always wondering why I was hungry. And it's because the vitamins I was taking weren't liquid, weren't powder, so I wasn't absorbing enough. And I never really took them regularly because they didn't have much of an effect. Now that I actually take minerals and vitamins every day that I can absorb, I'm not as, I mean, my hunger's cutting like half. So, of course, the weight's just pouring off me. Sorry, go ahead.
That's about half of it. I did an enormous amount of research several years ago when it suddenly dawned on me. I'm 66 years old. When I was a kid, nobody was fat. Nobody was fat. I mean, there just weren't fat people.
And people ate big old chicken fried steaks and everything else.
When I was a teenager, we ate hamburgers and fries and milkshakes and all the same general food groups that people eat today. But then it began to dawn on me, and I came up with a hypothesis. I said, they've done something to the food. And I spent 2 years researching this, and I came to the conclusion that if you eat at the trough of big food, because of ingredients they have put into the food supply that were not there when I was growing up, you are going to be fat, and then you're going to get sick, and then you're going to end up in the clutches of big pharma.
Well, ma'am, let me stop you. You're absolutely, it's on record. 50-plus years ago, they started putting the bisphenol A in all the plastic linings and products and newspaper print on record to sterilize and reduce fertility. It causes obesity. It increases cancer. And then it's all the other additives and things. And you're absolutely right. I've looked at studies on it. I mean, when my dad was a kid, I mean, the meals were giant. 4 or 5 fried eggs, hash browns, sausage, everything at dinner, you know, chicken fried steak, 4 or 5 vegetables, grease everywhere. And none of them were fat. It's because it was real food, even though it was, quote, unhealthy. It's the additives, all of it, on record, totally screws you up and makes you obese and unhealthy. And that's what you're saying you found from your research?
I lost 80 pounds by making a food rule that if I couldn't have eaten it in 1960, I won't eat it today. That means no high fructose corn syrup, which, by the way, is a seriously bad thing for your body.
Oh, it fries your pancreas. It manipulates liver function. That's on record.
Absolutely. No aspartame or other artificial sweeteners, and no monosodium glutamate and the other names it appears under, because MSG has the same function in food that those clever, you remember those clever scientists?
I tell you what, Alice, you're on fire. I want to come back to you, and I'll get to everybody else too, but I want to hear more from Alice. What an incredible testimony from Alice, losing 80 pounds, simply reading the ingredients list and all these petrochemicals and things that they're adding, not eating it. That's what we do at my house. And now I'm getting the vitamins and minerals and nutrients I need, and I've lost over 30 pounds in 6 weeks and just feel awesome. My wife had already been healthy, she, you know, for the children and herself. I, over the years, have gotten very unhealthy, just not caring about myself. But I've started to turn that around with God's help. But this is done by design. I mean, they're legally allowed, because they got a law passed, to add silicone to the foaming agent in most of the fried products that you get at the stores. I remember when I first heard that about 5-6 years ago, I go, that can't be true. I searched it. There was CNN even reporting it. I mean, no wonder organs are failing. No wonder. The Japanese government in World War I, they were involved on the U.S. side then. And this is all part of the record. You can go look up the history of MSG. They were feeding basically rotten food to the troops. And they found if they put MSG on it, they'd still eat it. It'll make a rotten rat taste like pumpkin pie. And it's an excitotoxin, very addictive, and it's in hundreds and hundreds, well, thousands really of things. But I'm going to go to other callers, but Alice, anything else you wanted to add for people?
I just wanted to make the comment that Americans were appalled